Ethos.
Where would you like to go for dinner? I don't know. You decide. I don't know. Sounds familiar? Even simple decisions like where to have dinner can be hard. It's no wonder when it comes to the bigger decisions in life, where to live, whether to go back to school, change jobs, whatever the case may be, it can be daunting because there's so many options. Fear not, there is a simpler way. And if you have 5 minutes, I'll share with you 3 shortcuts I've discovered to make big decisions quicker and more efficiently. This is the Next Simple Step podcast. I'm Paul Goldsmith. Thank you for listening. If you find today's episode helpful, share it with someone you think might also appreciate it. I'm going through a big decision right now, have an opportunity for making an investment, and there's big risk, but also potential for big reward. And I'm weighing on whether to move forward with this investment and thinking about the process of making the decision. And I came across this article that explains the challenge because our mind is like a muscle, and the more you use it, the more fatigued it can get. And that's why you're more likely to eat unhealthy food late at night once you're worn down than early in the day. Once your mind is wiped, you've used up all of your mental resources. Unless you've predetermined what you will or will not do, you're much more likely to give in to an impulse and take the path of least resistance. So the first step in making any big decision is to not make it at the end of the day. Save your big decisions for when you're well rested. And there's this acronym, HALT. You don't want to make any big decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. You want to be in an emotional well-being and not make big decisions when you're distressed. And so that's the first thing. Want to make those big decisions first thing in the morning with a clear mind. And if somebody ever requires you to give an answer right there in the moment, the answer is no. You want to have a clear mind when making big decisions. And then the second step really is to outline what success looks like. What's the ultimate goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Because there's a lot of different ways to get to the same destination. But first, you have to be clear about what success looks like and doesn't look like, because oftentimes we're just doing things because others expect us, or that's just what we thought we ought to do, but really haven't checked in with ourselves. Is this really what I want to be doing with my life, with my time? Will this create a better future for me? Will this help me to be the person I want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, at the end of my life? Will I be happy I made this decision, or will I regret that I made that decision? I think it's very clarifying to make sure that you are checking in with yourself to stress the importance if you take the action versus if you don't. Are you going to be okay with that? First step is have a clear mind, be well rested, well fed, emotionally good place to make a decision. The second step is to clarify what has to be true for you to make the decision, and future cast to decide if in the future, will you more likely be happy that you made the decision or not? And then the third step is to set a deadline for making a decision, because we all can get paralysis by analysis. And that's where the source of so much angst and anxiety and resentment come from, because kind of wish that we hope we had this opportunity, but we're not sure, not ready to pull the trigger, and the right perfect time never comes. Here's the deal. The sooner you make the decision, the more you will have peace, because once you've decided, then you have to live with the decision. I really think setting a deadline for making a decision is clarifying. And I've heard somebody say, if you don't know how to choose between 2 options, to flip a coin, and whichever side of the coin that you're hoping for, just go ahead and do that thing. Because ultimately, you know in your gut what you want to do. Is just setting a hard deadline for making those decisions really can be clarifying. And of course, you get to that point and you can set a new goal. That'll give you a new set of choices, because most decisions in our life are not permanent. There are very few decisions, maybe getting married being one. There are very few decisions that we can't change our minds later. So really evaluate, is this a permanent decision, or is this something I'm going to try for a season and see if I am happy with the results? And if not, I'll try something else. Because I think too oftentimes we catastrophize every decision. And what I've learned is there's no way to predict the future. So you make the decisions with the information you have today. And a year from now, you'll have new information. So you may choose to make a different decision. We all have agency to choose. And that's a beautiful part of being alive and being in a free country, that we have freedom that we ought to use and not live by default, letting others make decisions for you. You get to decide. So my question for you is, what will you decide today, or maybe tomorrow morning after you've slept on it, to do to make your dent in the universe this week? If you'd like a sounding board and you'd like to talk about your options and really come up with a strategy and a plan to decide on a creative idea, let me know. I'd be happy to help. My number is 559-574-3210, or you can reach out on Twitter or Instagram. I'm Paul J. Goldsmith. Thank you for listening to the Next Simple Step podcast. I'll talk to you next time.